Where's that presentation you need for your boss? Slack? Email? Drive? Lost, like your sanity, after wasting hours searching 76 tabs. Your work tools shouldn't take so much work. Dropbox Dash finds what you need fast across all your work apps, so you can focus on what matters. Spend less time searching, more time creating. Learn more at dropbox.com/dash.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
This episode is brought to you by Story of the Season. If you're still using a traditional media guide to promote your football program, it's time to level up. Story of the Season helps you raise serious funds, $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 while telling the real story of your team, the players, the moments, and the culture behind the scoreboard. Create a dynamic digital experience, build lasting community support, and give every player their spotlight. Learn more at Story of the Season.
You can't just show up on Friday nights and expect to win if you're not winning in every other aspect of your life. And so I'll tell kids, I don't care if you're making your bed in the morning, you have to make it cleaner and straighter than the person next to you. When you strap your chin strap up, it's got to be centered and perfect. It's not like psychotic, but it's like every day, everything you're doing is an opportunity to compete with someone next to you.
Welcome back to another culture story presented by Story of the Season, where we sit down with coaches who are building more than just football teams. Today's guest is Brian Vossen, head coach at Lakeville North High School in Minnesota. Under his leadership, Lakeville North has become known not just for their success on the field, but for the standards, values, and relationships that shape every season. In this conversation, we explore how Brian builds a culture that lasts and how storytelling, tradition, and the right kind of recognition play a role in that process. You'll hear how his team raised over $20,000 by honoring players the right way and why that's not just about money, it's about mission. Let's get into it. Coach, thanks for taking the time for joining us here on Culture Stories, presented by Story of the Season.
Appreciate you having me, man. This season's been a big part of what we do at Lakeville North Football, and it's been fun to be able to get that expanded out to people that aren't right there in the community or sitting right there at the game. So it's certainly connected a lot more families to the program.
Yeah, it's definitely a great tool for telling the story of your program. And the story of your program really is about the culture you're developing. Certainly the experiences, but ultimately that's what the guys who go through your program, even the community, the parents, what is the experience for them? That's your culture. So we'd love to hear a little bit about your culture and the things that are important to you at Lakeville North.
So this is my 23rd season. It'll be my 16th as a head coach. I'm alumni from the program. When I graduated from college at Mankato, which is a D2 school in Minnesota, I was fortunate I got hired right back on the varsity staff as an assistant to the assistant to the assistant, whatever, all that stuff. And it was awesome. That first year we were 14-0 and won a state championship. I had zero to do with it. But at that moment, I thought, God, we're never going to lose. I also never wanted to be a head coach. That was never part of my plan. My mentor was the D coordinator. He was a math teacher. That's what I do. And the school split. And at first we were all going to head to Lakeville South, which is hard to believe now to even fathom because, as the hat says, I'm north or none. And an older coach than myself, who was also young compared to the other guys, he decided he wanted to stay at Lakeville North. So he was the head coach for 5 years, Mike Zwaber, and he's now my athletic director. He chose to leave coaching and go on a mission back in 2010 for 3 years. And I said I'd be an interim if he wanted. And he said, nope, I got to be done with this. And I honestly hesitated on applying. And I'll get to the point, I promise. Bob Kovich for a long time was my assistant coordinator, my offensive coordinator. And we talked and he said, you got to do it. So I put together a packet. I applied. I got the job. And again, not something I necessarily wanted or had prepared for. And I met with Glenn Caruso, who's the head coach at St. Thomas University, kind of just by accident. We were at a clinic and sitting in the Dover bar. And he and I get to talking, and I just said, I'm about to be a head coach, and I don't have any idea how to start this. And he gave me the best advice. And it's been the culture of our program ever since. Find the things that matter most to you in raising your children, and then coach the kids with those exact same things. And he's like, you got to imagine, what would you want your own kids to know about you or have learned from you if you weren't there to teach it to them? At the time, I only had my youngest, Joe, who was 4 and no plans of having a second child. Oddly enough, the night before my first practice, we found out we were having our second son, Leo, who is now a 9th grader in our program, which is pretty cool. But Glenn Caruso said to me, so what are your things? And he said, Caruso's, we don't whine, we don't quit, and we don't get embarrassed. And I'm like, okay. And he, of course, went into detail on that. And I thought, that's really cool that he has it just broken down in that fashion, but those aren't mine. And I thought about all the coaches that I've had. I thought about lessons I learned from my dad, lessons I learned from my grandpa, like all these things. I really did labor on it. I mean, honestly, like a middle school kid writing like their different last name, or their girlfriend 1,000 times in a notebook. And after about 6 months, I came up with it. And it was, we find a way to win at everything we do. We never quit and we love others. And those 3 staples have kind of maintained the culture that we've built at Lakeville North. You can't just show up on Friday nights and expect to win if you're not winning in every other aspect of your life. And so I'll tell kids, I don't care if you're making your bed in the morning, you have to make it cleaner and straighter than the person next to you. When you strap your chin strap up, it's got to be centered and perfect. It's not like psychotic, but it's like every day, everything you're doing is an opportunity to compete with someone next to you. And you stack up all those little wins. You start doing well in school and your teacher's telling you you're doing a great job, maybe sends a message home. Your parents are proud of you. You get that daily affirmation all the time that you're great. On game day, you stop hoping to win and you start expecting to win because it's just what you've been piling up all week long, right? And that was job number 1. Get these kids to come winners in all the areas of their life. And it's challenging because, of course, if you don't win on a Friday night, there's that frustration of like, I've done everything I'm supposed to and we didn't win. But then that's also understanding that sometimes wins aren't measured by a score. Football's the ultimate team game. I hate stats. My staff knows I don't want to hear anybody's stats. Don't tell me who has the most tackles. The guy with the most tackles is probably the guy they're running to every time. And are they tackles for loss? Are they tackles on the line of scrimmage? Your sack was a covered sack or that pick was based on the pressure. We have to do this together. It's the ultimate team sport. Your measure of win on game day is, did you take care of all the things that you were responsible taking care of? One guy cannot control the scoreboard on game day. Did you let the score dictate how you felt during the game? When you were down by 7, did you play different than when you were up by 21? Like all those things are stuff that we constantly work on so that pressure is never too big or it's never too great. And like 15 years, we've made 11 state tournaments. It got to a point, I'm being honest, that we stopped celebrating even making the state tournament, that the expectations got to be bigger than that. We went through a drought where we didn't make any. So I certainly have learned to appreciate them. That's step number 1 in culture, in my mind, is creating kids that believe they are winners. And what's really cool about that, too, is that every high school coach can say it, but they're not going to go pro. Most of them don't even get to play college football. Like, this is their last shot to be a part of this game. And every sport has a football special. There's so many life lessons that you grab from football that you can use later. And now, having done this for this long, I have lots and lots of former players that you see that are good fathers and good husbands, and they're working great jobs. And to see that correlation afterwards, there's a quote, you'll never know how good of a job you did. You can't measure your success on what you did. You have to measure it on those that learned from you years down the road. That's, of course, not the exact quote.
That was great, Coach.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find
and
it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
In thinking about that, we all have those things that we set as the pillars of our culture. And I think ultimately those are all great, but they do have to show up, as you said, on game day. I'm wondering, if I were to come to practice and observe practice, how would I see some of those things? How would they be tangible within the practice? Some of those things that you talked about that maybe would be a little bit unique to your program because you emphasize them.
Well, one of the things you'd never see our team condition at the end of a practice. And that's from the youth level all the way up. I tell the coaches that are doing it, we're not going to needlessly run kids at the end because they need to walk off the field feeling like they won. If you walk off the field exhausted and dreading it and not wanting to come back, then you're not going to. I know this is a funny idea, but like, you're going for a run. I don't want you to sprint the last 2 minutes. Pick up your pace throughout the run so that you can coast the last 2 minutes. I want when practice gets done, they're fresh, they're energized. Sometimes we'll shut practice down early just to keep them like excited and hungry for that next opportunity. Another big part of it is, if you want people to take risks and experience successes, then you can't just rag on the failures all the time, because in football, they happen constantly. So something our staff does, we don't ever yell at an athlete unless it's effort. Okay. You blew your assignment, you're not getting screamed at. This is not a coaching staff that's screaming and hollering at. I mean, we're passionate. Yes, of course. It's loud. But I would say the atmosphere at our practice is one that's more joking with kids. So you're going to hear more laughter. It's not the kind of old school tough guy, waters for the weak. Like, it's one of more of just like a give and take. They're going to work harder out of respect for us than out of fear for us. And so my practices are very detailed. I don't put breaks in for water, because you can get water whenever you're thirsty, right? One drill ends at whatever, 8:12. The next thing starts at 8:12. And it's not like it's Gophers PJ Fleck where a whistle hits and everyone's sprinting in all the different directions. It's concise. It's clean. Like, that's what we're doing. This period's going to end at this exact time. And we're trying to keep all the kids active and moving and working and learning. And so once we get to game week, there'll be 2 hours and 45 minutes from meetings, practice, the whole thing. And once we hit week 4, we drop it to 90 to about 100. And I had a new coach a few years ago, and he asked, why you quit meeting, you blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, now this is part of the culture too. We got to keep them hungry for football. I don't want week 9, the kid to be like, this is a grind. I'm ready for basketball. So our kind of mental mark is 3 to 4:30, best we can. We're not perfect. There's plenty of 4:45s, and we'll sneak into a 5 on a tough week. But we're going to concise and do all that stuff quickly. We don't meet on the weekends. Weekends are for kids. I coach high school football, not college or pro football. And we don't grind the kids down. Like, I don't know if I answered your question completely, but I think when I talk to other coaches, they think I'm lying or I'm sandbagging. And my kids still love football in November. And that's a big part of it. They want to keep winning.
Yeah, that definitely is an important part. You want them to love this experience. And I think, you make a good point that it is high school football. I know when I coached high school football, I studied the heck out of what the college guys did. I mean, the challenge was always, okay, well, how do we tailor it? Yes, we can be more organized. Yes, we can do some better things operationally. But I think what you said, and keeping that in mind, is so important. And ultimately, with everything you're doing, your culture, the way it appears on game day, the way it appears in practice, you're creating that experience. And I think Story of the Season provides such a great opportunity to capture those things that happen during that season for them to have forever, but also to be able to share across your community through what Story of the Season does. Would love to hear about how it's worked for you. I know you guys have also made over $20,000 a year utilizing this platform, but Coach, tell us about Story of the Season and how it works at Lakeville North.
The Story of the Season, I mean, it's a digital platform where you can week by week change the information that you're giving to families. For years, we printed a really nice game day book, and it was nicer than what the Vikings print. I mean, sincerely, it was full color, well done. They're expensive. And I think there's still some people that miss that keepsake of having that to hold in their hand. But the information you put out at the start of the season is all the information they get. Because unlike the Vikings, we don't have a budget to reprint one every single week or a staff to keep rewriting one. I have a booster club of parents. We're living in an age where there's no shortage of pictures. I think it's funny that kids even buy a yearbook anymore, right? We still do the picture where they're on a knee holding the football before the season. It's like, I have a guy that takes 750 photos every single game, parent, and for some, that's still not enough. Plus, there's still 2 high school kids out there snapping photos, and all the parents, so anyone who wants can get photos uploaded. There's no shortage there. Story of the Season, what I think is really cool is they'll take any of the media that has been written up from the local paper or wherever, and they'll attach the links or the clips. So you're not just reading it, but then you're able to see it. And it does give it a professional football program type of feel. When you're going through ESPN, you can click the link and watch the video. Story of the Season has that. And we have Huddle. So I know that families, and we live stream our games through Ellen Panther Live. But there's so many different ways that people from outside the program that can't necessarily be there can see it. But this is a way that they literally can follow it week long. And they can see, they can learn about our 9th graders, our 10th graders, our JV, our varsity. And for coaches, I mean, all I do is upload the highlights. And to be fair, I only upload them. I let the kids pick them. So I'll pick a handful of my players and say, I want you to find 10 or 12 plays that you thought were great. Do me a favor and don't just pick yourself. Give me those clips and then I download them and send them in. That's my only job with Story of the Season. It's been simple enough that I've not had one parent complaining this thing's a grind. But I've had a ton of people tell me how much they appreciate that they can be a part of the football season without being right there. And I will say this too, cool as it is to open up your program and let people see it, there is a little bit of a vulnerability. We're getting to a place where the only space that no one's in is right when you get inside that locker room. Just you and the team, and that's still there. But we're allowing everyone else to see and read and feel what the culture is. And it's only going to make bigger fans.
Yeah, I know you kind of took a hybrid approach to that transition from selling ad space in the media guide and having space available in Story of the Season 2. And that's what's been able to help you raise over $20,000, part of what you do in the bigger picture. Just would love to hear that approach, because I know what they do a great job over at Story of the Season is solving problems and figuring out how do we make this work for you.
We had a great sponsorship program, and I think a lot of high school football programs are probably similar. If you were just first starting as a high school football program, this might be the perfect platform to build a sponsorship. But like for us, you're a sponsor for us. Your name's on the scoreboard. In the old days, you were in our game program, like you had an ad in there. You're in our golf tournament. We have sideline signs there. You can get on the backs of like summer t-shirts at youth camps. Like there's all kinds of different places that you can get your business raised up. So when we talked to Story of the Season, we said, we already sell this stuff and we have a price that we sell it for, all these different amounts. They have a price based on what content you're putting into Story of the Season. And we said, well, can we just pay you essentially what you would have charged us? And then we still get that space, but we're going to continue to sell it for what we sell it for. And not that we're trying to manipulate, or we just have other things that we're still offering through Lakeville North Football, and we don't want to have two separate entities doing it. Our sponsors, I think, love it. It's one thing to get on the scoreboard on game day, but it's another thing to get clicked 100 times throughout the week every time we show a highlight clip, because that's a cool thing too. There's some of the ads where like they sponsored the highlights of the week, so that company is getting seen all the time. And of course, for us, it's a local company. I'm a local guy. I live in the community. I was raised in the community. I don't want any sponsors to not get their money's worth. Yes, I know that some people just have money within their business that they can donate, and that's great. That's winning at everything you do too. Like, okay, you gave us $2,000 or $5,000. You're going to get $3,000 or $6,000 back in business because you worked with us. And if you don't, then please tell me, and we'll either lower your rate or not bother you to do it. Like, this has to be back and forth with us. Story of the Season's given us a lot stronger promise that the content's going to get viewed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you think of exactly how you frame that out, that every time they click on that video, they're seeing something. I mean, you think about the impact of that and being a part of it, right? Their feeling is part of this community, your culture as well, versus maybe one of those old signs on the fence. Sure, those are great. You see that. That's only 5 to 6 Friday nights of the year where you see those things. So this gives you that presence for a long, long time and shows them as an important part of the program as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, I really appreciate you sharing exactly how you do things and create your culture at Lakeville North. And just want to wish you and your team the best of luck here in 2025.
That's awesome, man. Thank you very much. We're excited.
That was Coach Brian Vossen of Lakeville North, someone who understands that culture is built one detail, one player, one story at a time. If you took something from this episode, share it with another coach. These stories are how we all get better. And if you're interested in the kind of storytelling Brian used to raise over $20,000 for his team, check out Story of the Season. The link is in the show notes. It's more than a fundraiser. It's a way to capture your team's legacy. Thanks for listening to Culture Stories, and we'll see you next time.